We got to ease on out of that intro. Hello and good evening. Welcome to the Black Man Unfiltered Network, and I'm back. Payne here, Mr. Boomer, and people beat me up so much about the being a boomer. I'm starting to like it. So now I'm introducing myself as a boomer. Oh my God, what has the world come to? Hello, Milani. Hello, 18. How you guys doing? How you young ladies doing? Uh, this is going to be a good topic tonight, I think. Uh, hey, Curtis, what's going on? And because I think some of the ladies going to say, "What the hell are you talking about this for? You're not a woman." And I'm going to convince you guys that my body, my choice is not something that should be exclusive to the ladies because it impacts us all. You know. And at some point, I will be dropping a link for anybody. I have it copied. I'll be dropping the link, but of course, I have to run my mouth for a little bit, let some folks come in and all that good stuff. And we'll be, anybody who wants to have something, just put something in. Hey, listen, anybody who wants to come up, you could also say, hey, drop the link. I want to talk about something here. Put it in the chat. Support the network. Super with a Cash App to BMU and all that kind of stuff. Me, I would love them too, but I'm not. It's not that big of a deal. But the network needs to be funded, and that's something that we should all support. So anyway, hey, listen. So before I get into it, we could talk about the title of tonight's show. My body, my choice. It's something a lot of ladies say all the time, and it wouldn't be so bad if they didn't just say it when it was convenient. But the main thing here is, should any group in this setting, women, have unfettered rights here in the United States? Hey, Amin Eyes, how you doing? Does anybody have the right to have unfettered right? Can you do what the hell you want to do when you want to do it with nobody being able to say so? And on this one, when it comes to the deletion of babies, no matter how loud women scream, a fair amount of people in the United States say, hell no, nobody should have unfettered rights. Now, that doesn't say you shouldn't have the right to do it, but on demand, that's the thing that gets a lot of people kind of panties in a bunch or drawers in a bunch or whatever. But I'm not going to, but the purpose of this one is not for me to come over here and admonish the ladies for wanting to have my body, my choice. I mean, that's not what I'm going to be getting at. I want to be able to kind of point out the fact that the decisions you guys make as a women can move the whole society. The decision women make in the United States and in the West moves the whole society. And that's one of the reasons why uh, having unfettered rights and leaving it up to your emotions and leaving it up to the things that y'all want to do on your own. There's so many people, including women, who have trouble with that. You know, because your decisions over the years have shaped society, and that's power. And it's not anything wrong with y'all having power. It's how it's wielded that matters. So we're gonna go through a few things. I got a few videos, of course, and I have one poignant story that I think everybody should listen to. And then I have, of course, I can't go through this whole thing without having my solution to the situation, right? I maybe around 5 months ago, I did a stream on this network about, if I had the power, what would I change? What laws would I enact? So one of those was how I would handle the procreation. I called it the Procreation Compromise Act. And I want to go over that with you guys. And I'm going to leave that to the end. And, folks can come up because, I think it's pretty good. I think, hey, boss man, what's happening? I think it's pretty good. But you guys could be the judge of that. And so, we can just start stepping through how I'm going to try to spin this yarn and narrative. Hey, make sure you hit the like button on the way in. And, put some comments like you are doing. I appreciate the people in the chat. Hit the like button. Let's get the like. I see, what is it, two? I mean, let's get the likes up. Let it be equal to how many people are in here or more. And so let's get rolling. So I'm not going to show the video just yet, but I have a couple of things. One, like I said, I don't believe that any group, women, any group at all, the alphabet mafia, blacks, anybody, Chinese, nobody should have unfettered rights. I mean, everybody, living in a society, we need to have reasonable compromises on all situations. And that's not to say you shouldn't have any rights at all. Now, in the situation of, baby deletions, we have the far right, which is draconian. They're telling women that no matter what your situation is, you got to carry a baby to term. And some states are starting to adopt that. And right now, your Supreme Court that everybody hates won't let them do that. But I can't imagine being so cruel to try to make a woman carry to term a baby that's put on her by force, by whether it's a family member, a stranger. These kind of things could damage a person for life, of course. So there's got to be a choice there for the ladies to get out of it. And there's some other things that go along with those draconian places, those bright red states. But I also don't agree on the far left that anybody could just decide to do whatever the hell they want because it's my body, my choice. I don't agree with that at all. They could tell you how you doing. Once again, how you doing? Hello, welcome to the chat. And like I'm gonna be dropping on link at some point in here, so I'm not gonna keep rattling off the chips. So you know where I stand, but it's not against women that I stand that way. I just don't think anybody should be free to do what the hell they want, and that includes women. I know you guys don't like to hear that stuff, but listen. Let me give you an example. Euthanasia is against the law, and and this is not just with women, but anybody. Nobody has the right to off themselves. But a lot of times, if your head's on right, you might want to say, "Listen, I want to clock out. You're right. I'm a burden on my family. My quality of life is so low that I don't even enjoy being around. All these kind of things. But I can't get somebody to end my life. That's against the law. You know, and if I did it, I might lose all the benefits and insurance and all that kind of stuff for the loved ones I leave behind. So, if that's the case, and we're both talking about, ending life in this situation, you know, that's something that we can't do, and I don't know if I agree with that. I think some people should say, hey, listen, you know what? Shit, I've been here for 90 years and all I'm doing is bleeding my family dry because of all of my situations. So, but you can't do it, right? The insurance companies and hospitals will milk your family into the poorhouse before they let you go. So, I mean, there's some things. There's some. That's my best, I guess, analogy to my body, my choice. Anyway, so let's keep going. All right. So what else? So let's look at it now. Do I have another question? You know, should men be involved in this decision at all? Right? And or should men, whether directly or indirectly, should men have any say whatsoever with the fact that a woman, and now I'm not saying stop you by force or anything like that, but the conversation of it, uh, should a man be able to have a say in this at all? And I think the answer for me, of course, is going to be yes, right? But so let's look at some things, right? When a woman has a baby, right? There are certain men who don't give a hell, right? They're gonna just say, hell with that, man. I'm not interested. I don't give a shit. You can have a baby, I'm going, right? But the vast majority of men, and it is the vast majority of men, by the way, who gets a woman pregnant is going to be involved with that kid one way or the other, whether it's in a marriage, whether it's in a close relationship, or whether he made a mistake, but he's a responsible man with a job and he has to pay child support. The majority of men are going to be involved. So they kind of care whether you have the baby or not. Now, they might have been relieved if you didn't, but since you made the decision to have the baby, they're hooked, right? The man who's married, he's not hooked. That's what he wanted. The person in a close relationship, it could go either way. And the casual lover, if he's a responsible man with his name on the birth certificate, he legitimizes the kid, that means he's involved. So that means it mattered that you had that kid. So let's look at the situation where a woman wants to delete the baby, right? The vast majority of men, well, a good number of the men are going to be relieved. But so is the woman. She's relieved because she didn't want the kid for whatever reason. So the man doesn't want the kid. But, so that's true. But however, how about the woman, the man who feels, and a woman who feels a little bit ashamed that they had their girlfriend go to the clinic. They went with her, they stood by her, they paid the money. You don't think men live with that regret a little bit, even if they're relieved? Just like she might be relieved because she didn't want to have the kids. You don't think a man feels that we're some like unfeeling automaton that we had to put our girl through that and then stay with her? Even after years pass, I mean, there's women who've had deletions and they've lived a full life. Can't beat yourself up for life, but they still remember it. They still remember the trauma of going through that. And the men who were with them, some of them still remember that too. So it's not like we're some, unfeeling automatons just going through life. So uh that's just my opinion, right? So well, there's a couple of things in the chat here. Yeah. So let me continue now. Let's talk about one last thing about men and women, and that's in a marriage. And I don't think some of you ladies gonna like that. That'll take heed. Uh, some of y'all might not like this. I don't believe that if we're married, that my wife should have uh the right to terminate the pregnancy without me knowing or agreeing to it. I don't, in a marriage, I don't believe that she should have that right. Matter of fact, in a marriage, if your marriage is good, I don't believe that anybody should be, I don't make a law about this, but I can't agree with anybody even having a deletion while you're married because of economic reasons. I say work that shit out. You know, how did the old people have 20 kids and somehow manage? So I'm just saying, if you had two, but you had a surprise baby along, I don't think deleting that baby should be on the list. If you're married, figure that shit out. So I mean, so I'm just trying to say, men are involved for those kind of reasons, but the biggest reason is that, like I said before, the amount of deletions in this country actually shapes society. It actually determines the kind of country we're going to have based on the kids that are born and based on the relationships that are made and severed because of that. And right now, I don't believe that females should be the only one making this decision. Let me also say that there's no space that a man has that a woman doesn't intrude on. There's no space that we have that you guys don't intrude on. Not one. If you see us having a nice little cigar lounge with just men only and shit, you guys are petitioning the state and everybody else to be able to break into that thing so y'all can have a cigar and a cognac as well. And that's just a small, stupid little example. But you guys intrude on us all the time. So this is one thing that I think we could come to better resolutions when we look at this together. Now, I don't like the extremes. right? I don't like the extreme left or the extreme right. So I think the answer lies somewhere in the middle. Okay. So let's get into some statistics. Okay. I know people don't like statistics. And I guess everybody's hearing me, so I don't hear no, no stuff. But I'm gonna keep rattling off at the gyms. I see Robert Williams in here. I see some people coming up. Hello, hello to all of you guys. Um, so let me, and sooner or later, I'm gonna get into a video. But after this, I'm gonna go through some statistics. The CDC, in conjunction with Gut Guttmacher Guttmacher Institute, Guttmacher, Guttmacher, Guttmacher Institute. They got some statistics. They said since Roe v. Wade, 73, 65 million deletions, 65.5 million deletions. That's a lot of deletions. And then I looked at then we talk about black women, of course, because we're all black. So we got to talk about how that pans out for the black women. So we had an uptick. We're around 14% of the population now. So according to the Center for Urban Renewal and Education, they said that though we're only 14% of the population, black women make up 36.2% of all deletions. And so if you multiply that by 65.5 million, that comes out to 23.7 million. So that's kind of close to that number we keep hearing. That's in the 20 million range. Now, what's the significance of that, right? For us, as Black people, as a Black subculture of African Americans, well, that goes to our relevance in terms of the kind of decisions we could make with the power brokers, right? I don't know how many, if all those kids would have lived, which we know is not, feasible, but we might, well, right now we're the second, we've lost our place as the biggest minority. I mean, maybe years ago, right? It's Hispanics now, but we're becoming more and more irrelevant because of the immigration, right? The Democrats are starting to replace Blacks as another subgroup. And so if we're not having any children, uh, at some point our relevancy is going to be nil, and then we're going to have to look at another way of saying we're going to survive in this place without having the political power that we used to. And all the black women that they're propelling right now, sooner or later those women are going to be speaking Spanish. I can guarantee you that. Give yourself 10 years. So it matters. It matters what we do, and that's just me talking, right? So these numbers, the amount of deletions we have is the reason why we're only one tick above that 13% that we always used to quote. So maybe it's not for me. It's not as big as a deal as it might be for some of you, because I'm on the other side of of my life, right? I'm 66, so I'm on the other side. And even if I have another 20 years or 25, whatever many years, I'm on the other side. Some of you aren't. Some of you are still looking to have children. Some of you are still looking to be relevant in this country. So I think it's a big deal. And I think it involves all of us. It's not just up to women. It's not, but nobody can force you to have a baby, right? Because even today, even after the fall of Roe v. Wade, it's still 50-50. There's 50 blue states you can go to delete your kids. And even in some of the red states, you can still do it. You just don't have as much of a free reign. And here's the thing, and so when I hear this, well, why do I have to move? Why can't I get and do what I want to do right in the state that I live in? Well, nobody can do that, right? People change states based on taxes, based on weather, based on jobs, based on everything. The shame would be that the number one reason why you would stay in the state is because you want to have free reign to delete a baby. I don't, that's the scary thing, right? And and I think that's the shameful thing. Why would that be the number one thing that makes you want to stay in one state or the other, just to be able to delete a baby? I don't know if that's the most positive way to look at life. Well, at least I don't think so. you know, and but we are where we are, So, but here's what this looks like, and there's two things I'm gonna say here, and I don't want you, the sisters, to take it the wrong way, but we already know that uh, women in general, but black women in particular, have become the tip of the spear for some insidious things that's going on. Margaret Sanger, who has a eugenics program, is working so well that the people in the program volunteer for eugenics. We are a willing participant. We're a volunteer in exterminating our own kind. And that's crazy, right? But that's what's going on. And then, the feminist movement in its third wave has usurped even the National Organization of Women. They have some really, really radical feminists that, are major players or have become major players back in the early 60s. And their whole goal was to destroy, of course, the patriarchy. But in doing so, they wanted to break families, wanted to break marriages. And I have a video on that, and you guys can listen to it. There's some inaccuracies in the video, but the basic revolutionary stance of some of these hard feminists is actually scary. And we know it's true because I think what we're living now is the result of the effectivity of how effective they were. And we know they were effective. Nobody wants to get married anymore. Uh, Empowerment for women means how many sexual partners you have, and of course other things, but that's one of the big ones: the freedom to have free love, and then and free trauma. But that's another story, so we don't have to get into this. So, um, but see, here's the thing: even if you don't have, let me just for a second, I want you to think about this. Even if you don't have the ability to have a deletion on demand, the power still belongs to women. The power in the sexual marketplace still belongs to women. It doesn't belong to men. And I argue with men, oh, we're the leaders and all this horse shit. Oh, yeah, yeah, we're the leaders. But we don't control everything. We don't. And we're not supposed to. So the power is still yours. You have the power of restraint. And your restraint says you have the power to marry before you carry. You have the power to do that. You have the power to say no to a man, right? Because if he does something above your no, then he's going to jail. You have the power to protect yourself at all times. It's like what, 30 something different birth control things, plus the guy has to put on a Jimmy, right? So, I mean, if you understand, see, I think sometimes women don't want to understand their power, because if they understand the power that they have in the sexual marketplace, that means you have to take accountability for the things you do, right? It doesn't mean men are blameless, but it means that you have to take accountability for the things you do, for the position you do. You guys do the heavy lifting. Whether you get pregnant, you do the heavy lifting. You have the baby, you do the heavy lifting. And if you go into the clinic in those stirrups, you're doing the heavy lifting. You know what I'm saying? You guys are doing the heavy lifting. You could blame that on the men all you want. You're still doing the heavy lifting. And I don't know if that's a good position you want to be in. So before I go any further, I do have my first video I want to show you guys, right? And I'm gonna tell you, it's Danica Marie, and she has a message for women in terms of agency, in terms of the power you have. And it's a short clip, but anybody who knows Danica knows that she speaks from the heart, and she speaks hard. And all you men, you got to close your eyes. Y'all can't look at this shit. I'm only joking. All right, so I'm gonna share it. Uh, okay, and just put a one in the chat if you see it, and everything is cool.
Not pregnancy. However, this is my gripe with women, and why I keep saying that we plan our own selves. We are the ones that allow these men entry. And that's why I completely and totally despise the whole thing of a man trapping you with a baby. Ma'ams, you are the ones that should be aware of your ovulation, of your cycle, and all of that. You are the ones that grant access to your womb. No man can get you pregnant without your permission unless it's by force. And in that case, I'm not talking about that. But I'm talking about consensual sex. I'm talking about you all laying down together, you making the conscious choice and decision. You allow him to weaponize the pregnancy. So who really pulled a switcheroo on who? But yes, there are men out there that's like, yeah, I'm gonna get you knocked up. That way, I'll always have access to you. I'll always be with you. You'll never be able to completely leave me alone. Like, yes, that is a thing. But at the end of the day and at the beginning of the fucking day, the woman is the one that gives the green light. And that's where y'all keep playing yourselves. We don't give a fuck about a man trying to weapon. Like Cardi B said, excuse me, it's no fun when mama got the gun. Well, the thing is, Cardi, mama Ben had the fucking gun. AKA, you always were the one that was in control of what you allowed and what you didn't. It's so many different levels and layers to every conversation. Excuse me, y'all. Hold on, let me mute myself so I can clear my throat. I ain't want to be in y'all ear with that. But yes, like, y'all be doing the shit to yourselves and then complain about it. And this is the wrong example. This is why I go so hard. Y'all be out here talking about, see, ladies, these men be trying to weaponize pregnancy and trap you with babies. And it's like, but who let him do it? Let's be real. Let's start at point A before we get to point B and C and D. You gave him the keys to drive your car. You were the one tracking your ovulation, like, okay, we're going to have sex here, 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 and here. And if you did not do that, it's still on you because you are the one who granted access. And that's just the hard truth. So I hate how these women oftentimes try to give y'all some kind of escape route to say, oh, the man trapped you. Nah, not necessarily. You let him trap you. So who again trapped who? We got to start being that honest with ourselves. We got to start taking responsibility for our actions instead of saying, oh, he did this to me. He did that to me. No, oftentimes we be knowing what the fuck is up, and then we ultimately play ourselves. That's why my caption and my title of this video is what it is. We be playing ourselves. We already be knowing what the what's up is. I know I'm ovulating. I know I'm horny in the motherfucker. I know that I don't have a condom. I know that I'm not on birth control. I know that he's not pulling out. I know. Come on, y'all. Come the fuck on. Let's be honest. That's the only way we can really grow.
All right. So let me stop it right there. So you heard her, right? I'm gonna stop sharing that. So you heard her. I mean, is she right or is she right? Now, I've said this 100 times that, on this, almost everywhere I go, men have to stop trying to take agency away from women. I mean, the womb is yours. And the womb, and what you do with that is true in the courtroom. If a guy tries to take it by force, and that trueness in the courtroom is the same in the bedroom. It doesn't change. And that's when I say you guys have the power. What's up, Dr. Steele? That's why you guys have the power. But you have willful ignorance about the power you have, because along with that power comes great responsibility and accountability. And men are a constant. It takes, you got to be the most naive woman in the world to know that a man, even a good man or even a great guy, he wants to have sex with you. Some guys will wait till marriage. Some guys will wait till we have a serious relationship. Some guys will do a one night stand. But every single heterosexual man who is a man is going to want to have sex with the woman he approaches. I mean, that's just the way it is. And it's the way it's been. And it's God ordained. He made it that way. So, and we need to stop fighting that. So anyway, so that's the key there. So I have a couple other things, and I don't know if anybody wants to pop up. You can, and we'll just have to just bear with me as I go through some more of this stuff. So I'm gonna just drop the link so it's there. you know and any ladies who want to come up and all that kind of stuff, that's fine. You could tell me why, if you have a reason why men shouldn't be involved at all in this whole scenario. We should just close a blind eye and just let y'all just go willy-nilly out into that night. Remember, now women are naturally chaotic, and men who are on their square provide order. So even in this instance, little order could go a long way, even if it's your body, right? So nobody's telling you can't, but there should be governors on everything. That's just the way the world works. So what else do we have here? All right, so there's three major, I call it the trifecta of I don't know, it's a bad trifecta. There's three things that happen in our society that put us in the position that we're in. And unfortunately, ladies, you guys have been the conduit of all of that. Not by yourself, because men are, again, we play in the pool. We don't drive the pool, but we pay in it. And I'll give you the three things, and I'll give you some dates, and maybe you'll see how these things connect to each other, right? The first one, and it's not the first one, but I'm just start from 1960, when the pill was released. And when the pill was released to women, it had an effect of birth control. And even if it was, and of course, men made the damn pill, right? So it gave women freedom to have sex without consequence, right? Almost without consequences. We didn't talk about the hormonal changes and all the shit that it did to your body and all that kind of stuff. But you had been able to have sex without consequence. Now, a lot of times people put this on the baby boomers, but the baby boomer girls were 14 years old when the pill came out. So their mothers put them on the pill, not because they were having sex, because they wanted to do it as a preventative measure. Because I think along with the pill came this whole horse shit that it fixes your hormones, it does something with your cycle, it takes away pimples and some other shit I think they used to talk about back then. But here's the unintended consequence, because women are smart, they ain't dumb, they know what the pill is for. Now you got a whole bunch of teenagers understanding that they can have sex without consequence. But nobody really told them about the diseases that they could catch. But you could have, me and, me and Joe Billy could have sex and shit, man. You know what? I'm not going to get pregnant. I mean, for the most part, you wouldn't. And so that's when I think the ages of sex started happening earlier. Of course, the grown people were having sex like crazy, you know? So, but I think that was one of the trifectas, okay? So that's 1960. In 1966, the Now organization was founded, and they had some radical feminists who, especially this one I'm gonna talk about. Her name is Kate Millett, and she was born in 32, something like that. And she was a staunch feminist. I mean, a radical, staunch feminist and a misandrist. And, she was prevalent in the Now organization, which had some altruistic goals, but they also had their revolutionary, just like a lot of all movements has the wing where the wing of the movement that negotiates shit, could put a tie on and talk with the people who are oppressing them, and then they have the wing who's willing to fight, right? the ones who are willing to say it's not enough to be equal. I want to dominate. This is where that Kate came from. And the next video I'm gonna show you has some inaccuracies in it, and I'll tell you about those because the lady in this video says that this was the credo of the Now organization. That's not true. She says that Kate Millett was the president, and she was not. She didn't found it, but she was a prominent member. But knowing a little bit about this Kate Millett, the credo that they were talking about in this particular meeting is absolutely believable, and I want you to hear it. And I'm tying this all together and the reason why I'm tying this all together because the last part of this is when they legalized deleting babies in 1973. So that was like the coup de grace, right? I can have sex whenever I want. And as a woman, having multiple partners was empowerment. And now I can go ahead and get rid of the evidence anytime I want because we have a federal law that says that it's illegal to do it everywhere. You know, we could do it everywhere, you know. And so those three things, the insidious three, the insidious trifecta, has us right where we are right now today. Right now today, no broken family. You know what? The last from 2021 and 2022, the marriage rate actually went up from 28 to 31%. Well, but but it's down so down dramatically. That's like a Pyrrhic victory. You know what I'm saying? But they said the divorce rates are going down a little bit because maybe that's because people are getting married older and things of that nature. But none of these statistics are anything good to great to brag about. They're all still bad. But our society is in a shambles in terms of the way we deal with each other and love each other. And I hate to say it, that the power of along with the power that the women have gained, the men have become equivalently weaker. I mean, men today are like general men, and a lot of them are like pussies. No, can't apologizing about everything, like the two punks from across the pond, just because a white boy made a joke. I mean, all I'm just trying to say, it's just disgusting. I can't stand it. I'm not even a tough guy, but the way I see men genuflecting and bowing and cowing and doing all this shit, it hurts. It actually physically hurts. But before I go any further, I want y'all to hear this lady from talking about the Now organization, and you guys can chime in. Or anybody who wants to come on up, even if you want to stay in the cloud. And any lady who wants to say, you know what, I think you guys should stay out of our business, and say that too. I want to hear that. I won't agree, but I'm not going to argue. Where is it? That one. Okay. All right. This was a very short.
Well, this might shock you because I also thought the same for a very, very long time, that the people who created feminism actually were nice people who wanted the best for everyone and just wanted equality. Okay, here's what really happened. So Kate Millett, she was an American feminist, author, and artist. She is the founder of the National Organization for Women.
That's not true. She's not the founder, but she was a prominent member.
Her sister, Mallory, was invited to one of the first meetings that established the National Organization for Women. So this is a feminist group that has been around since the start of the feminist movement.
That's not true either. Now now might have put a bow on the next wave, but feminist movement started long before 1966.
And they basically pioneered the whole movement. At this meeting, they gathered around a large table with Kate Millett, the chairperson, and she opened the meeting with the following back and forth recitation. So this is how the beginning of the meeting went. Why are we here today, she asked. To make revolution, they answered. What kind of revolution? The cultural revolution. How do we make cultural revolution? By destroying the American family. How do we destroy the family? By destroying the American patriarch. And how do we destroy the American patriarch? By taking away his power. And how do we do that? By destroying monogamy. And how do we destroy monogamy? By promoting promiscuity, eroticism, prostitution, and homosexuality.
Come on.
So this proceeded with a long discussion on how to advance these goals by establishing the National Organization of Women. Leader's sister says, it was clear they desired nothing less than the utter deconstruction of Western society.
The red pill and MGTOW movement.
All right, so that was short and sweet, right? Or not so sweet. Now let's a couple of things. One, if you go back through the Now organization's credo, they don't say it the way she just said it. But I can see that lady. I can see that lady who, you can go look up Kate Millett. I can see her having a meeting where she might have said that. But I would imagine that the founders of the Now organization wouldn't say that on the surface, she's telling the secret that they didn't want to say. But they didn't say that in their actual bylaws or anything like that. But just look at where the society's at, especially what she said about the men, the rise of the alphabet community, and the lowering of testosterone, the the broken men in families, the lack of leadership, and all that kind of good stuff. I mean, and if it wasn't for these spaces, and a lot of people recognize it, not just, if it wasn't for YouTube and the fact that men are starting to speak out, we would have just went out into that dead dark night and never to be heard from again. So I'm just saying. But again, what the lady said is that women have the power to change the culture, have the power to determine things. And we're getting ready to put, or maybe put, a woman in the presidency that we all know that she's not equipped to do. Not because she's just a woman, it's because she's not, the person is not equipped. But the United States, I think, needs a few more decades with just men being in charge before we find the right woman. And if we did find the right woman, the closest woman I've seen so far is Tulsi Gabbard. But anyhow, as far as I'm concerned, getting back to this thing, right? I don't know how you guys feel about what you just heard, but if you tie those dots together, we can start to see why we're in the predicament that we're in now. And it's not because of the choices of men. It's because of the choices of women, because we've been pretty much the same. Whether you like us, love us, or the ton of changes that are required for us to make. One, we don't want to make them. And two, is you're asking us to be outside of our nature, which would make it even worse. Because if you have a country full of weak men and women running the whole shit, I don't know how long the republic is going to stand. That's just not the natural order of things. And I don't care who doesn't like it, because in your own personal lives, you don't want your man being a puppy dog in front of you and for any long length of time. You might take it because you're some boss chick, but after a while, you're going to get tired of this too. Because every so often you want him to say to you, shut the fuck up. And he's not going to be able to do it. Listen, you know what? So that's all I'm just trying to say. We're pulling it. This is another reason why you shouldn't have the rights to do the shit that you want to do without anybody saying anything about it. So let me just segue to the last clip that I want to give you. That's a clip, and it's like 7 minutes long. And it's about the fact that this lady is calling, at the recent debate, Trump said that there were late-term abortions, and then they fact-checked him and say it's not true. Well, the ABC crew was lying, and they were lying big time. There are states, there are places, this one is in California, where this was a botched late abortion, and a woman lived to tell her story. As she's in front of Congress, I don't know whether she was under oath or not, but she's in front of Congress telling her stories, but she has receipts. And I want to share that with you guys. And I'm not trying to change anybody's mind other than the fact that this is another reason why men need to be involved in all this, because part of her speech was an admonishment of men and the weakness that we have in terms of letting this country just go anyway based on the feelings of people who are just getting power and still kind of immature on how to use it. And so I'm gonna play it because it's really poignant. Now, if anybody can get through this particular thing, I'm not saying you're gonna cry or anything like that, but anybody can get through this without feeling something. I'm really surprised. You need to check your emotions at the door, because I was saying, wow, this is pretty poignant stuff, you know. Hey, Braxton, I hear you. Anyway, so here we go. I'm gonna share this last video with you, and then after that, I'm gonna tell you how I would solve this problem, and and after that, you could write my name in the ballot box at the end where it says just write in. You could put my name in there. How about that? That'll be cool. Mr. Boomer for president, but you could use my real name. All right. Where is it? Where is it at? Not that one, this one.
You want to push that button at the bottom.
I may stop this a couple of times.
Is it on?
Yes.
Sorry. Good morning. My name is Gianna Jessen, and I would like to thank you so much for the opportunity to testify here today. My biological mother was 7.5 months pregnant when she went to a Planned Parenthood and was advised, and they advised her to have a late-term saline abortion. This method of abortion burns the baby inside and out, blinding and suffocating the child, who is then born dead, usually within 24 hours. And there should be a photo there. Yes, this is what I survived. Instead of dying, after 18 hours of being burned in my mother's womb, I was delivered alive in an abortion clinic in Los Angeles on April the 6th, 1977. You can see a photo as well of my medical records. My medical records state, born alive during saline abortion, 6 a.m. Victory. Thankfully, the abortionist was not at work yet. Had he been there, he would have ended my life with strangulation, suffocation, or leaving me there to die. Instead, a nurse called an ambulance, and I was rushed to a hospital. Doctors did not expect me to live. I did. I was later diagnosed with cerebral palsy, which was caused by a lack of oxygen to my brain while surviving an abortion. I was never supposed to hold up my head or walk. I do. And cerebral palsy, ladies and gentlemen, is a tremendous gift to me. I was eventually placed in foster care and later adopted. And hear me clearly, I forgive my biological mother. Within the first year after my birth, I was used as an expert witness in a case where an abortionist had been caught strangling a child to death after being born alive. Margaret Sanger, the founder of Planned Parenthood, said the following: "The most merciful thing that a large family does to one of its infant members is to kill it." Planned Parenthood is not ashamed of what they have done or continue to do, but we will have to give an account as a nation before God for our apathy and for the murder of over 50 million children in the womb. Every time we falter in courage as individuals and fail to confront this evil, I wonder how many lives have been lost in our silence while we make sure we are lauded among men. and that we don't offend anyone. How many children?
Let me stop it right there. So I just want to stop it anyway, just for, I guess, YouTube and everybody else, so you can let it sink in. I mean, I think what she said is poignant, right? And we got some more to go. And, there's a couple of other parts in terms of the finances, some things that she's going to talk about. But it's the admonishment of men in there, and we're going to listen to it again. So, anybody who wants to come up from after this is over, and we want to just chat. If you have an opinion, you can say it from the cloud, whatever. You could do that too. I mean, I'll just be curious to hear what you have to say. Let's hear some more.
Have died and been dismembered and their parts sold for our ego, our convenience, and our promiscuity. How many Lamborghinis were purchased with the blood of innocent children? The blood that cries to the Lord from the ground, like that of the blood of Abel. Not one of them, ladies and gentlemen, is forgotten by him. I would ask Planned Parenthood the following questions 38 years later. I would ask them these questions. If abortion is about women's rights, then what were mine? You continuously use the argument, if the baby is disabled, we need to terminate the pregnancy, as if you can determine the quality of someone's life. Is my life less valuable due to my cerebral palsy? You have failed in your arrogance and greed to see one thing. It is often from the weakest among us that we learn wisdom. Something sorely lacking in our nation today, and it is both our folly and our shame that blinds us to the beauty of adversity. Planned Parenthood uses deception, the manipulation of language, and slogans such as a woman's right to choose to achieve their monetary aims. I will illustrate how well they employ this technique with the following quote. The receptivity of the masses is very limited. Their intelligence is small, but their power of forgetting is enormous. In consequence of these facts, all effective propaganda must be limited to a very few points and must harp on these in slogans until the last member of the public understands what you want him to understand by your slogan. Adolf Hitler. We often hear that if Planned Parenthood were defunded, there would be a health crisis among women without the services they provide. This is absolutely false. Pregnancy resource centers are located nationwide as an option for the woman in crisis. All of their services are free and confidential. They can be reached by texting helpline to 313131. There is access to vital exams for women other than Planned Parenthood. We are not a nation without options. Planned Parenthood receives $500 million of taxpayer money a year to primarily destroy and dismember babies. Do not tell me these are not children. A heartbeat proves that. So does 40 ultrasounds, so do I. And so does the fact that they are selling human organs for profit. Do not tell me this is only a women's issue. It takes both a man and a woman to create a child. And to that point, I wish to speak to the men listening to me. You are made for greatness. You were born to defend women and children, not to use and abandon us, nor sit idly by while you know we are being harmed, and I am asking you to be brave. In conclusion, let me say, I am alive because of the power of Jesus Christ alone, in whom I live, move, and have my being. Without him, I would have nothing, and with him, I have all. Thank you.
All right. So, did you see my man's face when she said what she said? Did you see my man's face? I mean, he was like, "Are you talking to me?" Yeah, she was talking to you. She was talking to you. She was talking to all the lawmakers. Now, again, I'm not up here to be an advocate of saying we should stop. We should end all of this stuff. My premise is right there in the title. I just don't believe that there should be deletions on demand or willy-nilly just because people want to be, you know, sexually promiscuous. And I said people, right? Or irresponsible. Uh, I don't think you should be bailed out. And I think that the country needs to have a way to solve this issue because right now we have a whole bunch of one plank issue that goes supersedes everything else. We'll have people vote somebody in office just for this one issue. And, you know, this issue is not the biggest problem that we have in this country. It's not. It really isn't. We got wars coming up. We got inflation. We got all kinds of stuff. Now, to the personal woman, and the vast majority of women, they say this is a big issue, but most of y'all ain't going to go to the clinic. Just for the ability to have to go means that we should turn everything upside down. That's just crazy to me. But as I promised, I'm not going to leave your guys hanging, right? I have a solution, right? Like I said, you can go back 5 months because I did a stream here on Black Man Unfiltered Network where I talked about if I was in charge, what would I do? What kinds of laws would I make? What kind of changes would I do? And the very first one on the list, by the way, is this particular issue. Now, I didn't set this up that way. I just talk about a lot of things, so I have some ammunition in my back pocket. And so as we go through the list of exceptions that I go through, I would like to hear anybody just put it in the chat or whatever, whether you think it was just crazy or it's something that you could live with. And I already know that the people on the far left and the far right are not going to like it. But some people say that the best deals are deals where both parties are a little bit miffed. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, so let me stop talking. I'm going to show you what I got. You know, I had fun with this stuff before. All right. So now it's not going to want to play for me. Hold on for a second. All right. Let me go back. All right. So I assume that you folks can see it. Yes. So as you see, I said, you know, 9 laws I would change or influence if I had the power to do so. We're only going to talk about one today. All right. So here goes. All right. I call it the Procreation Compromise Act. Okay. That's what I call it. And of course, let's start. Now, of course, the ending of Roe v. Wade took this from being a national kind of thing to state by state. Where, you know, so I have mixed emotions about some parts of that because some laws, I think having some issues, some part of this law on a federal level, in order to normalize it across the country, is something that we might have to do. Now, since I have the power in this fictitious story, that's what I would make happen. Okay, because the states that are already blue don't have to do much changing, but the states that are amber to bright red, we're going to have to get them up to snuff. This way, that solves the issue, which is not really an issue because I really think that if you really need to have baby deletions, you should just travel to a state that hasn't. But let's normalize how this compromise would fit where across the country. So I would have to change that. Well, it'll be a part of this that will be federal, and if they don't comply, you know, certain monies won't come down to that state. The monies that they need, certain things that they would need from the federal government will cease. Okay, so the easy ones are up front. Okay, if for SA, yeah, you know, a woman should be able to have a choice there. For incest, yes. For safety of the mother, those are the top 3. That should be easy. I don't see anybody really arguing with that, right? Adverse viability of the fetus. Now, that one could be debated, right? But I'm not talking about just a mild deformities or mild abnormalities. I'm talking about where the doctor says, if this kid is born and does live, they're going to have a horrible quality of life. I mean, not even be able to function, a vegetable kind of thing. And you, as long as they're alive, you're going to have to take care of them. So the mother would have a choice. Your mother and father have a choice. So that one could be something to offer it up in terms of a bargaining chip. As far as plan B, I would say leave that alone. Our country gives drugs out for all kinds of reasons. I wouldn't see a reason to try to stop that to be a prick, right? But decriminalizing miscarriages everywhere, it's something that's really important because when a lot of women experience this, and it has nothing to do with being nefarious or trying to self-delete a baby or none of that stuff. So a woman shouldn't have to almost die in a hospital because the doctors is afraid to work on her because they're worrying about being put in jail. So that's why you have to provide qualified immunity to the doctors in these cases. That's right. And then the last one, number 8, and these are my 8 big ones, right? Revamp and improve the adoption services, even with a strict criteria where there could be a surrogacy, where if you have an unwanted pregnancy, but you know some people who want kids or couples who want kids, that you should be able to negotiate giving that kid directly to that person without putting them in the system. And if you don't, you put them in the system. But the system, I don't even know, nobody talks about adoption services anymore, but they're still there. They're probably in a shambles just like everything else. So that would have to be upgraded. It would have to probably have the right amount of people working for it and working in it to make it work better. And so it's not stockpiling children and stuff like that. And so those are the top 8 now. Anybody have any issues with the top 8? Well, say so. Just put it in the chat. So just know across the board. Joshua Jones, he's saying just know across the board. Here's a couple of other things that I put in item 2. And this is important to me. One, in item 2, I think that I don't agree under any circumstances that a wife should be able to terminate a baby without her husband's permission. Or really, I wouldn't see why you would do it at all. But being able to be married to somebody and walk up and just terminate the guy's kid without him knowing, I think is the utmost, well, not the utmost, but close to the utmost betrayal you could have. So I wouldn't agree with that. So I don't know whether you make that against the law, how you do whatever. I would just think that should be, I think that's breaking the vow, as far as I'm concerned. I really do. And if a man is complicit with that, he should get slapped on the wrist as well, or a little harder than that. Because if you're married and you have a baby you don't want, work that shit out. If you got a good marriage, you could fit another kid in there without going crazy. Your economics shouldn't determine whether you're going to delete a baby or not in a marriage. That's just me. Maybe that sounds hardline, but I wouldn't budge on that one. The other thing that I have in this law is that if you are just casually effing around as a woman and you get pregnant and the guy, he's a bum, because most of you guys are single mothers who know that the guy was a bum from the beginning. Even some of them were. And he doesn't want to have nothing to do with the kid, but you want to have it because you want to have it. I think he should have a way out of being able to have a financial separation where he doesn't have to pay any child support. You want that kid, you take care of. Because if he wanted the kid and you wanted to delete it, he wouldn't have any say. So if we're talking about equal rights and equal laws and stuff like that, a man should have the ability to walk away from an unwanted kid, especially if you're belligerent and have a kid above his objections, which is your right to do, but you should pay for it. You should pay for it. And so that would be in my law there, and then my next law on this one is about paternity. But this is it. These are my things. This is what I'm saying. The women on the far left are not going to like this because they want to do what they want to do when they want to do it. And I can dig it, but I don't agree with that. And then the guys on the people on the right, which a lot of them are women, by the way, a great deal of them are women, don't want you to be able to get rid of your kid under any circumstances. And I think that's wrong too. So we got to come to some kind of agreement, because this sounds like adults can get together and do something like this and pass a law that's comprehensive, so we can stop making this a watershed goddamn thing every election at every level. So that's just my that's just my idea. And so does anybody want to come up and have a little conversation about this, or was it so thorough that no extra conversation is needed? This, like I said, when you get your ballot, there's like a blank all the way over to the, I guess it's all the way over to the right. And you could just write my name in for president, because I think I'd be a good one, you know? And then, oh man, I'm just having so much fun. Anyway, so this is that. Any questions? Anybody have anything on this one? So Josh, you said no. It's just no across the board. No to what? Are you talking to me or are you talking to them? All right, what's this one? Boss man. Okay, two. Well, number two is incest, right? Oh, number two. Yeah, no. If you're married, listen, man. It's straightforward, boss man. It's straightforward. If your wife got pregnant, right? She doesn't have to tell you right away, by the way, right? You're not, she has to take the test and do that. She knows she's pregnant, and you might not know. So you can go behind your back and get it taken care of. You would never know. I'm saying that shouldn't happen. BMU, you got something to say? You're gonna. I don't know if you're up there or not. So do you see what I'm saying, boss man? That's what I'm talking about. I don't know if that answers your thought there. But I think that, in a marriage, I don't agree. Oh, okay. All right. So I see. Anyway, that's, we've been here for a little while. It seems like nobody really wants to come talk. I see BMU pop back up. I don't know if you're going to say anything. If you hear me, you can. Other than that, any of the ladies, hey, listen, you could go into the cloud, man. Any ladies have any objection to what I said or any part? We can just debate it. I'm just trying to fish you guys out and say, hey, you know what? I think you're all wet on this, But here's what I really wanted to do. I wanted to say all I said in the beginning, show those videos. One, to get the point across that women, you have the power, whether you have unfettered rights or not. The power is still in your hands, and you have shaped the society to where it's at. And men have taken a back seat, which is not a good thing, but we have. I mean, I think that in the Democratic convention, they were lauding the fact that they got a new man, the man who's crying in front of his, the soft, Mr. Walsh man, walking around laughing and being jovial and being I don't know, So what's this? What do you say? Yeah, okay, yeah. Push back. Come on up. What did you say, boss man? Oh yeah, man. Boss man's preoccupied. He got the young kid up there. Anyway, so that's all right. I don't want to prolong this if people don't want to come on up. But somebody put in the chat. Do you guys see where I was coming from? Just put a 1 in the chat if you see where I'm coming from. Put a 2 in the chat if you completely disagree. That's what I'd like to see. What's going on. So, like I said, I want to touch upon every so often. I come and touch upon some of these subjects that yeah, thanks a lot. That are on edgy, right? Edgy. I don't believe that. I hope the women didn't feel I was coming against them. Hey, Paul Bennett, how you doing, man? Yeah, so yeah, if you miss most of this, just hit the replay, man. This might be a short one. I solved the world's problem with my the Procreation Compromise Act. You know, so we could get this issue off the table and start talking about more substantive kind of issues that are plaguing the land, like these wars coming up and like inflation and like all this other kind of stuff. Now, this is important too, but I want women to understand that their power is not being usurped because you have unfettered, you don't have unfettered rights. Your power is still there, and your control over how your reproductive rights are meted out is really up to you. It really is. You determine whether you're going to get pregnant. Of course, there's exceptions depending on how your activities go. And that's it. So I just want to let you guys know that that's it. I don't have anything more other than I appreciate everybody stopping in the chat, going back and forth. And this is another short one, but I appreciate everybody listening in. And if you have any comments later on, just put them in the chat or anything like that. So other than that, I appreciate it for that. But everybody, I'm going to say good night then to all. Let me say good night. Let me do this. And I believe Mayhem Monday's next up at 9:30. So stick around or come back, get some dinner or late dinner or whatever. I believe Mayhem Monday's later on tonight with Gracie. And so that should be cool. All right. So later on, everyone.
It's going down like a rodeo. It's going down like I told you so. It's going down like a rodeo. It's going down like I told you so. I hope you're all here for the ride. Come inside, cause it's going down tonight. Only here for one night, no lies. Come and saddle up a ride. Need a yeehaw, you know how here for one night and we just wanna party. In a fast car, a Ferrari. It's a push start, I don't need a car key. Slide on Broadway, and it's gnarly. On a late night, but I'm not tardy. Right on time for the parties and Barbies. Strolling with a truck of green like a golf swing. Hey, 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 hey. Bottles on ice, mess around these skates. Hey, hey, hey. If I gotta say it twice, then I got nothing to say. It's going down like a rodeo. It's going down like I told you so. It's going down like a rodeo. It's going down like I told you so. I hope you're all here for the ride. Come inside, cause it's going down tonight. Only here for one night, no lies. Come and saddle up a ride. Come and kiss me up, it's going down. Like a train with no brakes, I'm not slowing down. See us showing up, we're showing out. Better pack it. It's going down like a rodeo. It's going down like I told you so. It's going down like a rodeo. It's going down like I told you so. I hope you're all here for the ride. Come inside, cause it's going down tonight. Only here for one night, no lies. Come and saddle up a ride. Need a yeehaw, you know how here for one night and we just wanna party. In a fast car, a Ferrari. It's a push start, I don't need a car key. Slide on Broadway, and it's gnarly. On a late night, but I'm not tardy. Right on time for the parties and Barbies. Strolling with a truck of green like a golf swing. Hey, 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 hey. Bottles on ice, mess around these skates. Hey, hey, hey. If I gotta say it twice, then I got nothing to say. It's going down like a rodeo. It's going down like I told you so. It's going down like a rodeo. It's going down like I told you so. I hope you're all here for the ride. Come inside, cause it's going down tonight. Only here for one night, no lies. Come and saddle up a ride. Come come and kiss me up. It's going down like a train with no brakes. I'm not slowing down. See us showing up, we're showing out.